Oh man, you know, I came out when I was 15 years old. And I did a whole lot real fast at a young age, and I just got to the point to where I felt like I wanted to take a break and make sure I had my home life and my family life in line. A lot of people couldn't understand. It's like, you gonna walk away from all this money and you just gonna, you know. But I really felt necessary to get myself together as a man, get my family together. I had a 2-year-old. I got a 2-year-old right now. And, you know, I had made him my #1 priority. Music was nowhere on my list of things to do. It was making sure that my youngin' came up how he was supposed to come up, you know, and get what he needed, and for me to be there day in and day out with him. You know, I stayed home with my child every day, you know, and made sure that he seen me, because I know once I get back on this road, I'm gonna be on this road. So them first couple years, it was nothing but him.
I ain't talking fast, you listening slow. Pay attention and you'll hear me. I put that work in the pop, whip it, let it lock, and then I hit the block. Nigga be hollering and banging on my side of town, you will probably get shot. Hustling, jigging all day until I get a night. If I don't, I won't stop. On old deal, telling tales are over on claim, we ducking the cops. Ferraris and Bentleys, we dreaming them bitches until we could pull off the lot.
What up, guys? Your boy Quake, and I am back with a brand new episode of What Happened To. But before we get into that, be sure to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at QuakeGW. A link is in the description below, and leave a like on this video. It helps it out a lot. This artist I'm going to cover is from Louisiana, and he actually blew up huge in 2007, and to my surprise, he was very young when he blew up. He was around the age of 16 to 17 years old. And the reason why I chose this artist is because recently he actually got into some trouble, and I wanted to talk about that as well. But as you can tell by the video title, I'm talking about Hurricane Chris. At his peak, Hurricane Chris was just a young teenager, but had the whole world yelling "Ay Bay Bay," doing a hand clap, and talking about Halle Berry. And for someone that couldn't even legally enter the clubs, he had the clubs on smash with his Ay Bay Bay hit. So let's get into his career and talk about how he got into music, his rise, and what he's up to now. Hurricane Chris was born on March 7th, 1989 in Shreveport, Louisiana. He said he grew up listening to a lot of hip-hop, and the ones that mainly inspired him were the lyrical ones, such as Outkast and Eminem, and he said he's never really had a favorite rapper. He's just liked music that was hot at that time from whatever artist.
Some of my favorite artists: Eminem, Outkast, that boy Jeezy Jam. I don't really just have certain favorite artists. I can go forever telling you artists that I jam, because I listen to every type of music. I'm so versatile with it. One day I might want to listen to a club banger. Next day I might want to hear something I can ride in my car too. So it all depends on who doing their thing at the time.
Hurricane Chris says he started rapping at the age of 10, and when he entered a school contest for a rap contest, he actually won first place. And ever since then, he said he started taking rap serious.
Well, I've been rapping since I was 10. I've been rapping ever since I was 10. I've been rapping for 8 years, you know what I'm saying? I wrote my first rap in a school talent show, you know what I'm saying, won first place. Been doing it ever since then.
As the years went on, Hurricane Chris would sharpen up his lyrical skills by battle rapping everyone in Louisiana that he could. And through these battle raps, he built up a name for himself, and people started calling him Hurricane Chris. And the reason why he got this name is because after battle rapping people, he would completely destroy them and leave them silent, just like how a hurricane comes and destroys its environment, and then after the hurricane leaves, it's calm.
I got the name Hurricane because when I first started rapping, I was a battle rapper, and I used to leave my opponents silent. And after a storm is silent, so that's where we get Hurricane from.
Really?
Yep.
Did you come up with the name yourself, or did somebody actually give it to
the
you?
streets
Or
named me that, really, you know what I'm
that
saying?
was just like Hurricane.
I think
Hurricane.
somebody messed around and said it and explained why they said it, and from then on it stuck.
So when you heard, you was like, that's it.
I couldn't do nothing about it. They was calling me that. I had to answer. Or, you know what I'm saying, not talk to nobody. The streets gave me that, so Hurricane.
Hurricane Chris started building up his buzz by performing locally in clubs in Louisiana. He eventually performed at a club that DJ Bebe was at, and DJ Bebe took wind of him and took him under his wing, and DJ Bebe was huge at that club, and every time he would come up and be a DJ, people would yell out "Hey Bebe," and then eventually that became a saying locally around there. And then DJ Bebe recommended Hurricane Chris to make a song about that. Then in 2006, he recorded the record and started promoting it all over Louisiana, performing it. Eventually, after a year, the buzz started gaining a lot for this track. The song finally spread out of Louisiana and went to Atlanta. And when it got to Atlanta, obviously at this time, Atlanta was the biggest in the music hip-hop scene. A DJ by the name of King Arthur in Atlanta ended up playing the A Bay record on the radio, and the person that heard it was Mr. Khaled Park. And Mr. Khaled Park thought that it was actually initially Lil Boosie's track. So when he mentioned it to the DJ, he said, no, that's a kid named Hurricane Chris in Shreveport, Louisiana. Of course, Mr. Khaled Park loved the track, knew it was a hit. He flew out immediately to Shreveport. He got in contact with DJ Bebe, and of course, DJ Bebe was close with Hurricane Chris. So they got in contact with each other and immediately signed Hurricane Chris that night. Before we continue, I want to give a big shout out to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. Surfshark is a secure virtual private network that encrypts and protects your data online. Two of the reasons why I like using a VPN is because one, I don't get ads spammed to me based off what I searched, so they're collecting my data. And the second reason why I really like to use Surfshark's VPN is because I can pretend I'm in a totally different country while watching something. And I like to use the UK location because they have access to a lot of shows we don't have access to on Netflix. The best example is I like to watch Power, and they do not have that in the United States on Netflix. You have to get a separate app from Starz to watch that. So why waste extra money? Just get the VPN and you'll be able to watch every season available. The great thing about Surfshark as well is that they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so that if you don't like it, you'll get your money back. Plus, they have this service available literally on every device you can think of. And because Surfshark sponsored us, they're giving us an amazing deal for you guys. If you go to surfshark.deals/DM and enter the promo code DM, you'll get an 85% discount and 3 extra months for free. The link is in the description below, surfshark.deals/DM. Thank you for watching, and let's get back to the video. Mr. Khaled Park then linked up with Brian Leach, who had the label Polo Grounds Music, who was distributed by RCA Records, and through this deal, they got an official major label deal. So what did they do? They took the A Bay song and officially released it to radio on April 10th, 2007. The song ended up debuting at number 95 on the Billboard Hot 100, and within the second week, it got to number 85. Then the third week, it went to 61. Then it went to number 24, and then it eventually peaked at number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100. And the single was huge. It ended up going platinum, and it ended up selling 2 million ringtones. So if you were to add the two numbers together, overall, it sold 3 million copies. And this video was insanely requested on BET's 106 & Park that they had to actually retire the video from being voted on there. On top of that, he actually landed a shoe deal with Fila for his own shoe and shot a commercial for it. In order to keep his buzz going, Hurricane Chris decided to release a mixtape before releasing his debut album, and he released his debut mixtape, Louisiana Animal, on August 16th, 2007. And on this mixtape, there was the official remix of A Bay, which just helped promote the track even more. And the features on it were crazy. There was The Game, Birdman, Boozy, E40, and much more. And Game's verse on this track is just perfect. I think he kills it. Then they decided to release the second official single from his album, and this track was called The Hand Clap. It peaked at number 78 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 18 on the US Hot Rap Tracks. Then finally, on October 23rd, 2007, Hurricane Chris dropped his debut album, 5150 Ratchet. The album debuted at number 24 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 26,000 copies. And as of now, we don't know if the album's gone gold yet. There's no certification anywhere. After releasing the album, Hurricane Chris joined Chris Brown and Soulja Boy to tour all around America, and while touring, they decided to push the third single off the album called Play Us Rock on December 15th, 2007. And this track, in my opinion, was very underrated. It only peaked at number 25 on the Hot Rap tracks and number 47 on the Hot R&B charts. In 2007, he also had a few guest appearances. He appeared on Mike Jones's single Drop and Give Me 50 and Baby Bash's Cyclone remix. In 2008, Hurricane Chris was mainly touring, so he didn't release any new music, but he did appear on a couple of other artists' tracks, like the Fly as Fuck remix with Big Unk and Lil Boozy, the Picture Perfect remix with Chris Brown and Bow Wow, and a few other tracks. Then in 2009, he was finally gearing up to release his second album. The first single off the album was called Halle Berry, She's Fine, and it was officially released on March 3rd, 2009. Although this single didn't perform as well as his first initial A Bebe hit, the song did perform pretty well and peaked at number 52 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 7 on the Hot R&B and Hip Hop songs. And the song grew so big, as well as the dance, that it actually made it on the Ellen Show, where Halle Berry herself was dancing to the track. Hurricane Chris was also promoting the single by performing it literally anywhere, and he actually ended up performing the Halle Berry track at the Louisiana House of Representatives, which is crazy. I've never heard a rapper perform there ever. He might be the only one. While promoting that single, he decided to hit the mixtape market again, and on July 8th, 2009, he dropped a collab mixtape with Boozy called Category 7, A Badass Hurricane. The second album was originally scheduled to be released in August of 2009, but ended up getting pushed back to give more time for promotion. So he released the second single, Headboard, on September 4th, 2009. This track featured Mario and Plies. The track didn't make it on the Billboard Hot 100, but it did make it on the US Hot R&B and Hip Hop songs, and it peaked at number 63. Around this time, Hurricane Chris was having issues with his label, and he was very frustrated that his album wasn't getting released. In August, it kept getting pushed back, and in interviews, Hurricane Chris was voicing his frustration with the label. And because of that, the owner, Brian Leach of Polo Grounds Music, said that if he kept saying the label was doing a bad job, that he would eventually get blackballed from the industry and he wouldn't be able to release any music at all. This is all according to Hurricane Chris.
I got into it with my CEO, Brian Leach. Well, I didn't get into it with him. I actually, I was doing an interview, and as I did the interview, I spoke to the people that was interviewing me and told them that the label had been holding back my album, and that's why it wasn't released. And I got frustrated, and I started like venting about my label situation. And Brian, he called me and told me, like, you keep on, I make sure you ain't on BET next year.
Oh, so that blackballing shit is real.
Yeah. So I was like, that's fucked up, you know what I'm saying? I think that's some of those fucked up shit. It made me look at the industry different.
Finally, months after frustration with the label, he finally got a release date for his second album, and on December 21st, 2009, his second album called Unleashed was released. There is no first week sales of this album according to Nielsen SoundScan, and it didn't make the Billboard 200 charts. It peaked at number 46 on the US Billboard R&B and Hip Hop albums and number 20 on US Billboard's top rap albums. Then as 2010 came, Hurricane Chris and his label Polo Grounds Music didn't really see eye to eye in the direction they wanted to take Hurricane's music, so they decided to part ways. So Hurricane Chris was officially independent and no longer with a major record label. So what did he do? He went back to the mixtape circuit and decided to drop a couple mixtapes in 2010. On May 1st, 2010, he dropped his second mixtape, Louisiana Part 2. Then on September 3rd, 2010, he dropped the third installment, Louisiana 3. Then just a day later, on September 4th, 2010, he dropped Louisiana 3.5. Another mixtape he dropped was Category 5 on December 28th, 2010. So that's 4 mixtapes throughout that year. Then Hurricane Chris would take a 2-year hiatus. He mainly said these hiatuses he took was because he was focusing on his personal life, his family life. He had a kid as well and wanted to be there for his son when he was going to school, so on and so forth. Then finally, late 2012, he started gearing up for his next album and released the first single called Bend It Over, and he said his third album would be titled Return of the Hurricane. And because he's independent, it's harder to push music to a major audience, so the single didn't end up charting anywhere. Then on January 2nd, 2013, he dropped his new mixtape, Caniac. Then for the rest of 2013, no new music came from Hurricane Chris. Then in 2014, he didn't release any music really at all. He dropped one single called Ratchet featuring Lil Boozy, and it did not chart anywhere, but it did generate 1 million views on YouTube. Then he started gearing up to drop more music, and in 2015, on September 4th, he dropped his new mixtape, Hurricane Season. And this mixtape ended up producing a new single for Hurricane Chris called Sections, featuring Ty Dolla $ign, and it was produced by DJ Mustard. And the reception for the track was very good, but unfortunately it didn't chart because there is no major label backing. Following this, on May 5th, 2016, Hurricane Chris dropped a new mixtape called Verses, where he spit over other rappers' beats. Then in 2017, he would find himself in some beef. Kodak Black ended up calling out Lil Wayne for a fight. And of course, Lil Wayne is from Louisiana, and so is Hurricane Chris. So Hurricane Chris instead responded on Instagram accepting that fight challenge and to never disrespect Lil Wayne. Then Hurricane Chris ended up releasing a new diss track towards Kodak Black. The track was called Don't Play With Me, and it was released on February 10th, 2017, and generated 2.7 million views on YouTube.
Chopper do a drum roll. You can't play me like no hoe, nigga. You ain't gonna play me like no hoe, nigga. Check it out, check it out. Talking slick, I put your dick in the dirt. Think it's a game? No copping douches. You disrespect me, I'm busting brains. Rappers like rapping about shit that they ain't never do.
Kodak Black simply recorded an Instagram video mocking Hurricane Chris's hit, A Baby. After this, Hurricane Chris released his new mixtape, King Kane, on March 7th, 2017. And this is the last full project we have from Hurricane Chris. Then on May 13th, 2019, he dropped a new single called How I Feel, and we don't know if this is off a mixtape or an album, no confirmation. Then in 2020, Hurricane Chris would get himself into some serious trouble. On June 19th, 2020, Hurricane Chris was charged with second-degree murder. This is what the article says. Rapper Hurricane Chris, who rose to fame in 2007, is facing a murder charge after a man was fatally shot Friday in Shreveport, Louisiana, according to police. The shooting took place Friday around 1 a.m. at Texaco convenience store. According to a press release from the Shreveport Police Department, officers arrived and found a man with multiple gunshot wounds. The man was identified by the Caddo Parish Coroner's Office as Danzira O'Fares Jr., 32, of Shreveport. He died of his wounds at the Health Shreveport Hospital. The 31-year-old rapper, whose real name is Christopher J. Dooley, was identified as a suspect in the shooting. Dooley claimed the shooting was in self-defense after a struggle over his vehicle, police said. Instigators were able to secure video footage of the incident that detectives believe showed that Dooley did not act in self-defense, the release said. Detectives learned the vehicle in question did not belong to Dooley, but was instead reported stolen from Texas. Dooley was charged with 1 count each of second-degree murder and illegal possession of stolen things. He was booked into the Shreveport County Jail on Friday, according to jail records. However, just 2 days later, Hurricane Chris was released on a $500,000 bond for his murder charge. Then a few days later, he went on Instagram to address the situation. Here's what he had to say.
Hello world, hello world, hello world. I'm sure you got the news by now. I was involved in a very unfortunate incident on Friday morning. A very unfortunate incident. I want to thank everybody who's been praying for the family of the deceased and everybody who's been praying for my family. After a good, thorough investigation, my name will be cleared. Let God work, watch God work, God bless. Thank you.
And that's it for this episode of What Happened To. Thank you for watching. What did you think about Hurricane Chris? Did you like his music? What was your favorite track from him? And what artists you guys want me to do next? That's it for today's video. If you guys want to support this channel further, you can do so at patreon.com/diverse mentality. For just $1 a month or more, you can help support this channel further. A link is in the description below. Like, comment, share, and definitely subscribe. I do videos like this daily on hip-hop news and much more, so definitely subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at QuakeGW. Like us on Facebook, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.